Welcome to part 4 of this 4-part series on emotional health. In part 3 of this 4-part series, I introduced the 4 steps to emotional health. That's name it, claim it, tame it, never shame it. And I focus on the first 2 steps of emotional health. In this segment, I'm going to be talking about the last 2 steps of emotional health. That's tame it and never shame it. Now, tame it is when you learn how to process how you feel in a healthy way and then make good decisions about how to respond. Tame it actually has 3 components. The first is validating how you feel, the second is problem solving, and the third is letting it go. Instead of giving in to your emotions or dismissing them, take the time to journal or talk yourself through how you feel and then give yourself empathy for how you're feeling. This may feel a little weird at first, but it's an important part of self-soothing, and it helps us to calm ourselves down. Everyone needs empathy and validation for how they feel, and in fact, empathy is key to calming down our brains and preventing a meltdown. Now, once we're calm, we're now in a much better place to problem solve. So first, I ask myself, do I have any control over the situation that caused my feelings in the first place? If yes, I pray and I ask God for guidance as I try to plan out my strategy of how to solve the problem. If I don't have control over the situation, so for example, if my friend says a hurtful thing to me, while I can confront her, I don't have any control over whether she chooses to say that hurtful thing to me. Then I have to work through letting it go. And this may include choosing to forgive the person who hurt me. But ultimately, I give my emotions to God and I try to move on. This type of problem solving is such an important skill because it teaches us to focus our energies on what we do have control over, while letting go of things over which we have no control. It's a life skill that will help us to navigate through all sorts of challenges and is absolutely key to resiliency. And by the way, tame it also teaches us to take ownership for when our emotions lead us to do negative things and to apologize to the person that we've hurt or offended. Personal responsibility is always about owning your part of the problem, even if it's only 1%. Now, once you've determined any steps you need to take, you can go ahead and respond as you need to, and then let it go, regardless of the outcome of your attempts to problem solve. So for example, I can begin to think about how I can initiate a reconnection with Susie, but I have no control over how she'll respond, either to the invitation or my expressed concerns over the distance in our friendship. There are different strategies we can use to help us let it go. For example, you can try using humor or distraction. Another strategy is rationalizing, by trying to look at the situation and give some plausible reasons why it turned out the way it did. You can also try to see the situation from a positive perspective, such as how much you've grown from it. And you can absolutely pray about it and surrender that situation to God. Now finally, never shame it. This is a critical step because often we try to should ourselves out of feeling a certain way. By shaming my feelings, it actually exacerbates my pain. All of us need empathy and understanding of our feelings. When we shame ourselves for feeling a certain way, we end up preventing the healthy processing that we need to resolve our feelings. Change always happens in the soil of grace. Without grace, there's only control and fear. But with grace, there's growth and change. Accept our feelings as they exist. I can't control whether they pop up or not. That's an automatic response. But I can control how I choose to handle and respond to my feelings. And in giving myself permission for my emotions to exist and choosing not to shame them, it actually gives me greater power to manage them. So remember, when your emotions get triggered in a given situation, name it, claim it, tame it, and never shame it. And begin taking steps towards emotional health and maturity.